This is Alternate Future of the World, Part 7. Let's do this. As soon as this loads. We're gonna do this. If it will load. Hopefully it will. But it's not. I'm sorry to waste your time with this. But yeah, we're going to continue that war. If this will load, we're going to continue that war. Okay. Not this.
I am downtown in the beautiful city of Denver, Colorado.
I don't care. I don't got that money to bet. I wish I was that rich. Just bet that amount. So, back to where we were. Okay. So, yeah. Now, the big war. I don't remember which front we were on, but let's just say Japanese. So, they get pushed. They continue getting pushed in the Korean front. And now, what was formerly, actually, what in this timeline, Korea never existed, nor did definitely South Korea and North Korea. They don't ever exist in this timeline. Actually, yes, they did. Never mind. Korea did, not South Korea and North Korea. They didn't exist in this timeline. But anyways, yeah. What in our timeline is North Korea, they get pushed out of that now. And China continues to push them out of China. And they have almost completely pushed the Japanese out of China. The rebels in the Philippines, they take the island of Tagbilaran. And the Indonesian rebels get destroyed. But then even more Indonesian rebels pop up. More pop up here and here and here. And Japan is still gonna do their absolute best to crush them. That's their primary target, because that's where they get their oil. Without that, the Indies, they won't have any oil. But now to the Caucasus front. It's at a stalemate now. And European front. Russia is getting even closer to pushing the Germans out of Norway, and they still don't know about it. Germany pushes up and manages to take the Baltics now. But Russia takes Kiev back, and they manage to take Minsk back. So that's a little kind of a blow to the Germans. Now the mini wars. Oregon now starts pushing up and now to get to North Dakota's mainland. But yeah, North Dakota's already reached them, and they push even deeper into Oregon. And then Oregon surrenders. And And now in the peace treaty, so this is the peace treaty of Seattle. North Dakota gets all of this land. Yeah, North Dakota gets all the land that Oregon did not originally have. That they get all the land except the land that Oregon originally had when they broke free, when they got their independence. And I think that's it for the mini wars. I don't think there's any others happening. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So now it's just the main big war. Oh wait, I forgot something. Egypt rebelling. They push and they take the Suez. Ottomans, Turkey can't really. Yeah, they're still the other. No, they're Turkey. They stayed Turkey. They never went transformed back into the Ottomans. But yeah, Egypt, Turkey can't really do anything about Egypt. It manages to take the Suez Canal now. Now they control it. And now to the worst front for the Axis. The Chinese get even closer to pushing Japan out of China. Now they're even closer. And Russia pushes even deeper into Korea. And they take Seoul, a pretty important city to have. And Russia is now preparing and they've been preparing for this invasion a while. And Japan is prepared. They have their citizens mobilized because their citizens are still really loyal. Because remember, they won World War II. In this scenario, they won World War II. So remember that. So the Japanese citizens are just as loyal, and nothing made them stop being as loyal as they are. And nothing got rid of that never surrender thing. So they tried. Oh my. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll be back. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. But they try invade, and it's a huge failure. They immediately get pushed out. And the Philippines should take this island with the city of Dumaguete and Bacolod. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. So now the Japanese are pretty overwhelmed. And they are unable. And they are now just at this point they are unable to stop the Indonesian rebels from beating the Japanese. So they beat the Japanese back easily. Their forces are now being way too thinned out to fight all these rebels. Their forces are too thinned out now to stop the Indonesian rebels. Caucasus Front still a stalemate. Russia pushes even more and are getting even closer to taking all of Norway. And they've taken Oslo. The Germans encircle Minsk. And then they also encircle Kiev and take back those two cities. and they push on Ukraine, and then they managed to push on Ukraine a little bit more. In present day, they push present into what used to be Ukraine a little more. Well, sorry. The Egyptian rebels managed to take almost all their land back. Now, all that's left is the city of Arish and El Tor. Oh, I forgot, Iraq rebels. They also push Turkey out of Iraq. What? Even more. Okay. Is that it? Okay, back to the Japanese front. And finally, the Japanese get kicked out of China and then kicked out of Taiwan. And now China and Russia are preparing together for China to take these islands, and then the two do an invasion of the homeland. China does an invasion from the south, and Russia does an invasion from the north, and at least one has to succeed. And surely Japan, they think, will not be able to defend both north and south. But they don't know how loyal the citizens are and what the citizens will do to protect their homeland. So, Russians get even closer to pushing Japan out of Korea. Philippines take 3 more islands back. The Indonesian rebels managed to take this island that I don't know the name of. Oh, the island isn't supposed to have this. And they start pushing into former Malaysia, former British Malaysia. There was no independent Malaysia in this timeline. Remember, because this is based off of the Axis winning World War II. Remember, don't forget that. So they take Singapore. Actually, no. Yeah, they take Singapore. They do. And they also push the Japanese out of the island of Java. That's the only island I know the name of. And they take a few more islands. And they push them even farther out of this island. Oh, sorry. That's probably loud. Egyptians revolt. They push, and now they have all the land Egypt had before Turkey came along. And Turkey surrenders, and they let Egypt have independence. Actually, no, they don't. So Egypt prepares an invasion of. So Egypt continues to push into Turkey. And Iraq pushes even farther. And they now almost have Baghdad, which is a pretty important city to have. Now the German and Russians, the Russian Empire is so close to pushing them out of Norway. And now the Germans finally realize, way too late, that Russia has been pushing Norway the whole time. That has been pushing them out of Norway the whole time. And realize how stupid they were, and they should have put more than one guy there to tell them, in case one got killed and captured, as the guy who was supposed to tell them did. Fascist USA, new war. They plan to retake all the former USA's land. So they declare their first step is that they declare war in South Dakota, and they easily start pushing push quite a bit into South Dakota. And Texas takes this chance to try to defeat or at least weaken Fascist USA, and they declare war on Fascist USA. Yeah, they declare war on Fascist USA, and immediately they were ready for this. They push and take Mississippi, the state of Mississippi. At the very start of the war. Actually, how many? 1, 1, 2. So now the Fourth Californian-Mexican War begins. And California immediately, easily pushes into Mexico up here. And they push, and they, once again, they push and take out Baja California the fastest they've taken it over since. Surprisingly, but still not sorted everything out and started becoming powerful. Oh wait, I'm still doing it, sorry. So back to Japan. So China, after a lot of grueling, bloody battles, they manage to take this strip of islands. And they're begging Russian Empire and they're trying their best. And now they are really trying to figure out a different way to knock Japan out. Not wanting to go through another even more grueling battle to take this island chain. But Russia says it's the only way because nukes have not been invented yet. Remember that. Don't forget that. So now, and Russia finally pushes Japan out of the Korean peninsula. Oh wait, sorry. I keep doing it. And the Philippines take the Lialo, I don't know if I'm saying that right, city. They take it. And Indonesia pushes into former British. Actually, now they made it, let's just say they made it kind of a colony. So now they're pushing deeper into Japanese Malaysia. And they push into Japanese Timor-Leste more. And they push the Japanese Indonesia back even more. Now back to Turkey. Turkey finally surrenders and allows Egypt to have independence, and they get this. And because Turkey wouldn't surrender after Egypt got all their original land back, they made Turkey give them that land. And as Iraq took Baghdad, Turkey, not wanting to lose any more land, they gave Iraq independence. But in turn, Iraq had to stay in the war and help with the war effort. So Iraq agreed with that. And they stayed in the war and helped with the war effort in the Caucasus. And then Russian Empire pushes them out of Norway, and they begin the invasion of Denmark. But now they're gonna they're finally gonna have to face some resistance now that the Germans forces to stop them is about right here. So now they're about to meet some resistance. And the Germans try now and they also are tired of this war still going on. They're starting to get tired of this war going on. And they try a huge push on the I forgot what I called the front. On the Eastern European front to try to get to Moscow. And at first, it's a huge success. And they push. And they push and get quite close to Moscow. They get pretty close to Moscow. But then the Russians push right back, and it fails miserably. And here's how. So they encircle those troops. And then they encircle and then they manage to encircle these troops. And all the troops in Crimea surrender. And then they manage to encircle Kiev and Minsk. And Kiev and Minsk fall back into Russian hands. And the Germans, and with that being taken, the Germans seeing how thin this connection is, they move all their troops out of this area and retreat out of there. And the Russians, and now Russian Empire has pushed the German Empire quite a bit back. Now they've been pushed quite a bit back because of that. Now the other wars. Fascist USA pushes South Dakota even farther back, and then they take the capital up here. But despite that, they did not give up, trying to give Texas as much time to knock them out of the war, to beat them and win the war for them. And Texas is pushing mainly east. They're mainly pushing east to try to get to Washington. But now the Fascist USA has almost picked gotten. And now Fascist USA's their spare troops. A lot of their spare troops are now almost at the front. Almost at the front line with Texas. So it seems Texas is about to start being pushed back. And of course, they get pushed back again, as expected. And the troops, with them being encircled, they give up. All these troops here give up, knowing how. And once again, Mexico surrenders. And just like that, Mexico is back to how they were before USA's downfall. So now they start looking towards Central America and they are coming up with a plan to take all of Central America and hoping they can become powerful. And they know that the Panama Canal is one of the most important canals ever. So they are planning. So they hope if they can manage to take it, they can be really powerful from that, and then start the fifth Californian-Mexican War, but this time win against California. They are tired of losing 4 wars in a row against California, who is still a pretty newly formed country. So now to the Japanese front. I'm going to end this at 30 minutes, I think. Jeez, this is going to take quite a few parts to finish. So Philippines, the Japanese give up with the Philippines, and they let Philippines have their independence. No, since the land doesn't really have oils, so it's not that. And they start moving all those troops out of the Philippines and to the Indonesia to stop the Indonesian rebels. So they push even deeper into Japanese Malaya, and with that, Japanese Malaya gives up. I don't know what all the borders were. Malaysia, not Malaya. Sorry. I'm just gonna say these were the borders. And Japanese Timor-Leste also gives up. And they push Japanese Indonesia out of this entire island. This entire big island. And Turkey gets pushed back a little bit, and they get pushed completely out of the countries, with all their rebellions being weakened by that. And looks like Russia might more start being able to push into Turkey. So Russia starts another, they push, but then the Denmark plan didn't go as planned, and they end up getting stuck there, and it ends up becoming so they come up with another plan, and this is to push on the eastern front, and hopefully then be able to push on Denmark. So they plan to cut off German Empire from the Baltics, and then knock out the Baltics, and hopefully more easily push back the east, and then because of all that pushing there, push down on Denmark and reach Germany. So they begin the plan, and they push over here, and they easily and they push over here easy, but Grad is really fortified. And it takes them a while, but they finally take Kaliningrad. With that, the Baltics are encircled, and the Russian Empire easily pushes the Germans out of the Baltics. And with that, the Baltics have been secured, and they push hard on the East European front, and Germans get pushed back quite a bit. But the Germans take this back. They take all of former Poland back. With that, now Russian Empire has Ukraine, Belarus, and all of the Baltics back. So now they're preparing for now they're preparing for a huge push on the Eastern European front. Now we're going to do these tiny wars, and I'm going to end this video because it's almost at 30 minutes. So they push, and they knock South Dakota out. And Fascist USA pushes. Now they're pushing Texas back. And they pushed from atop. And Texas, seeing that they're doomed now, they surrender and get annexed. So now Fascist USA's plan is to take out North Dakota, then Oregon, and then California. And then they plan for Canada, and then Mexico, and then Canada. That's really their plan in its most basic form, to take all of North America. Oh wait, no, Mexico, then Central America, and then Canada. And the big war is still going on. So, see you in part 8 of the series. This series is so much fun to make. And I can't wait to make the next part. And yeah, so see you in part 8